private individual can also be made the party, but in other matters, the state is there against whom the remedy is available for the violation of the fundamental rights. So when we talk about state under Article 12 of the Constitution, you see that part third of the Constitution starts with Article 12 and it continues up to Article 35. So whatever is there between these Article 12 to 35, that is a fundamental rights chapter, part third. And first part, that is general. In that general, you see Article 12 starts with the term definition. So in the Constitution, if you have the barrack, then you will find that there are many places where definition and interpretation has been mentioned. Okay, this is not the only article where you find that Article 12 speaks about the definition. There are other provisions also in the Constitution where you find that the term is used somewhere as definition, somewhere as interpretation. Definition and interpretation, that is all there. So how and why this is a part of the Constitution at different places, this is one of the query which may come to your mind. Second thing is that when we talk about the state, then simply in terms of the political aspect, we see that what constitutes a state. State में क्या क्या चीजें होनी चाहिए, एक टेरिटरी होनी चाहिए, उस पर रहने वाले लोग होने चाहिए, उनको गवर्न करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट होनी चाहिए, and that government has to function for the defense, for the assistance, for the help of the persons who are residing over there, to save them from external aggression and to do the functions to maintain the law and order situation, to bring the justice. This is the simple meaning of this state in political aspect. If we talk about in political terms what constitutes a state, then these are the points which are there in state. So there was a book written by Hoots Phillips in 1973 on constitution and administrative law, wherein he started his this state with these type of the definition as to what shall constitute a state. So a state, that is an independent political society, and that is having a definite territory, that is having the persons residing over there, and those persons are governed by a government. That government has to function for the welfare of those persons. That government has to maintain the law and order and justice situation. That government has to defend the persons from the external aggression, from war-like situation, and overall the government has to function for the welfare of that persons who are residing in that territory. So in simple terms, we mean the state is like that. But when we talk about the state in legal terms, then there is a different meaning of the term state. Now, so far as the Constitution of India is concerned, the state is not defined only in Article 12 of the Constitution. Okay, right from Article 1 till the schedules which are there in the Constitution, you find that there are various places where the term state has been defined. बहुत जगह state को define किया गया है संविधान में ही. For example, Article 1 की अगर हम बात करें तो that article starts with India, that is Bharat shall be a union of states. ठीक है? And in that state, this union of state, the term state is having only two, that is the central government or the state governments. Okay. So in Article 1, state is there, but it has been used in a different term. Similarly, we talk about Article 356, failure of the constitutional machinery of the state. Then the state is having a different meaning. It is not like what state means in Article 12. Then we see Article 152 also, which speaks about the state. And there you see that prior to this abrogation of Article 370, we know that the laws which were enacted by the Parliament, in those laws, when it talks about the extension of that law, कि कहाँ कहाँ इस law को लागू किया जाएगा, you find that In maximum cases, it speaks that except the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the law will be applicable. Okay. अगर आप कोई कानून उठा के पढ़ते थे तो उसमें क्या लिखा होता था कि एक्सटेंशन इसका कहाँ होगा, कुछ ही कानूनों को छोड़ के, कुछ ही लॉज को छोड़कर बाकी में लिखा होता था कि ये जो है वो स्टेट ऑफ जम्मू एंड कश्मीर को छोड़ के बाकी पे लागू होगा. एंड द रीजन बीइंग दैट दे हैव वी वर हैविंग द special provision for state of Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370. So Article 152 also provides for the term state, and there also you will find that it speaks that state of Jammu and Kashmir shall not be the part of the state. Okay, Article 152. Then Article 308 of the Constitution, which speaks about the services, civil services, public services, there again you will find that the term state has been defined. Then Article 36 of the Constitution, Article 36, which is in part 4th of the Constitution, that also speaks about this state. Okay. So the term state has been differently, defined in the Constitution, and it is to be found at different places also, right from Article 1. Then you'll find that the term state is also used in the schedule when it speaks about the state, what shall constitute the state, and these are the states. Okay. So you find that the state is also there in the schedule of the Constitution. So when we talk about the state, then we have to go back to see as to what was the debate on the state, term state during the Constituent Assembly debates. So as I told you earlier also that when the fundamental rights were drafted, at that time the subcommittees on the fundamental rights and various other drafts were also brought for the fundamental rights. So K.M. Munshi was one of the member of the Constituent Assembly. He has submitted his draft on the fundamental rights. Harnam Singh also submitted his draft on the fundamental rights. He was also the member of the Constituent Assembly. Then we see Dr. Ambedkar has also submitted the draft on the rights of the states and minorities, minority rights. So all these drafts which were submitted, those all were talking about the remedy against the state, that these rights if violated then the remedy is to be made available against the state. कि उन ड्राफ्ट में ये तो बार बार आ रहा था कि स्टेट होगा और स्टेट के अगेंस्ट में रेमेडी क्लेम की जा सकती है, जो अथॉरिटी है उनके अगेंस्ट में रेमेडी क्लेम की जा सकती है, बट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज नॉट डिफाइंड द टर्म स्टेट. तो उसमें कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स आए थे उसमें कहीं पर भी स्टेट को डिफाइन नहीं किया गया. And the reason may be that B.N. Rao, who was the constitution advisor, he has given various drafts or various constitution of the other countries for the purpose of the drafting of the Indian constitution. And you all know that Government of India Act 1935, various provisions have been incorporated from that 1935 Act to the Constitution of India. Then the directive principles have been borrowed from Irish Constitution. Preamble has been incorporated or borrowed from many of the constitutions, Japanese, French, as well as American Constitution. So you see that other provisions like Commerce Clause has been taken from the Australian Constitution. So various provisions in the Constitution have been borrowed from the different constitutions of the world. जो वर्ल्ड में उस समय कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन चल रहे थे, जब हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ड्राफ्ट हो रहा था, उस समय बहुत सारे प्रोविजंस जो थे उसको अलग अलग कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन से लिया गया और बहुत सारा हिस्सा 1935 के गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एक्ट से लिया गया. एंड यू सी दैट दिस स्टेट इज नॉट डिफाइंड एनीवेयर. कहीं पर भी स्टेट को डिफाइन नहीं किया गया किसी भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में. And this was the reason that in Indian Constitution, when the draft for the fundamental rights were being submitted, there was no definition of the state. So it was when the debate was going on, it was said that we are talking about the state, but state is not defined. So how the remedy can be made available against the state? So what shall constitute the state? That has to be defined. And then you see K.M. Munshi, he has prepared the draft of this term state. So in that state, he has incorporated the parliament, the government, the state legislatures. At that time, province was set. So provincial legislatures and government and local authority. So these were the part of the term state. So when it was debated and discussed, then one of the member of the Constituent Assembly, he was Bharati. He was Bharati, Kesavdan Bharati. So he said that because we are making the provisions of state in different parts of the constitution, so the term has to be started that in this part has to be made prior to the state includes. तो इसमें क्या होना चाहिए कि क्योंकि अलग अलग जगह पर स्टेट की डेफिनेशन दी गई है, इसलिए हमें यहाँ पर जो डेफिनेशन देना है उसमें लिखना होगा कि इन दिस पार्ट, इस भाग के लिए ये डेफिनेशन होगी इन ऑर्डर टू अवॉइड एवरीवेयर. अगर हम स्टेट को डिफाइन कर लेते हैं तो दैट वुड बी गुड, because one member Muhammad Ali Beg, he said that there is no use of defining a state. So the arguments were that if we will not define a state, then everywhere whenever there will be a state, then whether it will create confusion, or we have to write everywhere that government of India, provincial government, local authority, other authority, whatever is there. So everywhere we have to write like that. So ours is the largest constitution. It could have been more larger if the term state would not have been defined there. So the term state has been defined, and K.M. Munshi, what he has proposed, that has been further modified by Bharti, and later on at the final stage we see that this was the draft article 7, and later on the last stage it has become and renumbered as article 12 of the constitution. So now you see that article 12, which is the first article in part 3rd of the constitution, that speaks about the caption is definition, and in that definition it starts with the word in this part. That simply means that the state definition which is given in article 12 is applicable only and only to part 3rd of the constitution. So in this part, unless the context otherwise requires for. If you have the barrack, you can go through the language of article 12. It simply speaks in this part unless the context requires otherwise. Then the state includes. जो definition है, ये नहीं कहा कि state defines. State is defined like that. No. State includes. State अपने आप में include करता है क्या क्या चीजें? As I told you, government and the Parliament of India, the government and the legislatures of each of the state, local or other authorities within the territory of India or under the control of the government of India. Now, when we talk about this definition, then in clear terms we know that government and parliament, there is no confusion. कोई confusion नहीं है कि government of India क्या होगी या parliament क्या होगा. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स क्या होंगी या स्टेट के जो लेजिस्लेचर्स हैं वो क्या होंगे, दैट इज वेरी established fact. Local authority, then we see that local authority is not defined in the Constitution of India, and if it is not defined, then where to find the meaning of the local authority? So we have to see the General Clauses Act of 1897, which under section 3 clause 31 defines local authority. Local authority, which includes the boards, municipality, panchayats, जो 331 में है, आर्टिकल 3 सब क्लॉज 31 जनरल क्लॉजेस एक्ट 1897 का जो एक्ट है उसमें लोकल अथॉरिटी को डिफाइन किया गया है, जहां पर नगर निगम, नगर पालिकाएं, पंचायत, बोर्ड जो परिषद है उन सबको लोकल अथॉरिटी कहा गया है. सो for the purpose of understanding, for the purpose of interpreting, local authority is also not very difficult. So the first 3 points, the government of India, parliament, the government of states and state legislatures and local authorities, these are all defined properly. The confusion starts for interpreting the term authority, other authorities, as to what shall include in the term other authority. This is one thing. The second thing is that when we talk about the state, then in normal parlance, we know that the state functions through its organs, and these organs are known as the legislature, executive and judiciary. So we see that in Article 12, the term judiciary is absent. It is not the part of this. Please stop sharing, Ravikant. You are presenting your screen. Just try to listen and don't try to play with these things. So, judiciary is not the part of this definition under Article 12, which we know that whatever actions are to be done, those are known as the state action, and the state action, who does? The state organs as per the constitution also, and these three are the organs which can function as a state function. But under the definition of a state under 12, it is missing. Judiciary is missing. This is one thing. Sorry, second thing, because authority is not defined, other authority is not defined, judiciary is missing. Third thing is that in our system, we see that we have the union, we have the states. At the same time, the constitution also provides for union territories. Okay, union territories. But you see that union territories are also not written here, because in every union territory there is a high court, the citizens are residing there, the government functionaries are there, the offices are there, they all are there like the states, they are functioning like that. So why the term this union territory is not the part? So for that union territory, you see that the term used in the territory of India under the control of the government of India, this has been covered कि हमारी टेरिटरी में है और उस पर गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का कंट्रोल है, तो वो यूनियन टेरिटरीज पर भी वो स्टेट की तरीके से ही लागू होगा, जिस तरीके से आर्टिकल 12 में पार्लियामेंट या स्टेट लेजिस्लेचर या स्टेट एग्जीक्यूटिव को दिया गया है. So we see that union territories is not there directly in Article 12, but we can have the meaning of this union territory by the terms used in the territory of the government of India, in the territory of India, or under the control of government of India. Now, when we talk about the under the control of the government of India, it does not mean that those persons whose rights have been violated, they are belonging to Indian territory, because some of the territories have been given to the others also for the purpose of the governance, but they are within the periphery of the country and these laws have been made applicable to them. So if there is any violation, they can directly go to the court of law for the violation of the fundamental rights under the control of the government of India. For example, the space places, the maritime places. So मैरीन में अगर हम देखते हैं फिशरीज के लिए अलाउ किया जाता है कुछ इतना नॉटिकल एरिया है, दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ द पर्सन्स हु कैन गो देयर, बट दैट इज नॉट द टेरिटरी ऑफ इंडिया. वो इंडियन टेरिटरी में तो नहीं आता है. स्पेस का प्लेस है या मैरीन का प्लेस है, वो इंडियन टेरिटरी में नहीं आता है, लेकिन कुछ दूरी तक इंटरनेशनल नॉर्म्स के अकॉर्डिंगली दीज एरियाज हैव बीन डिफाइंड दैट they will be coming under the for the purposes of working, for the purpose of use for that particular boundary of that particular state. So in India also अगर हम देखते हैं तो चाहे वो स्पेस में हो, कुछ दूरी तक हमारे टेरिटरी में ही इंक्लूड किया जाता है, कुछ जो हमारा मरीन प्लेस है वो भी इंक्लूड किया जाता है. सो दैट वुड बी अंडर द कंट्रोल ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. अगर हाई सीज पे कोई क्राइम कमिट हो गया है, हाई सीज पे किसी का राइट वायलेट हो रहा है, तो क्या कहा जाएगा कि ये वो किसकी टेरिटरी में आते हैं. सो फॉर दैट वी हैव टू सी द इंटरनेशनल लॉ फॉर दैट पर्पस, एंड इन दैट वे दिस वुड बी कवर्ड अंडर द कंट्रोल ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. So one thing within the territory of India, other thing under the control of the government of India. Within the territory of India, union territories can be the part. Under the control of India, space and high seas, those may be the part of this Article 12. But judiciary is not directly there, and authorities, other authorities are very, very important to be defined for. Now, first of all, we'll be talking about the other authorities as to what shall be included in the term other authorities. So we see that for understanding other authorities, we have to look back to various case laws, because this is only the expensive interpretation which has been done by the Supreme Court in order to make the other authority, कि अदर अथॉरिटी को किस तरीके से इंटरप्रेट किया जाएगा, इसके लिए सुप्रीम कोर्ट के डिसीजंस हैं, हाई कोर्ट्स के डिसीजंस हैं, जिससे कि हम मालूम कर सकते हैं कि व्हाट शैल कॉन्स्टिट्यूट अदर अथॉरिटी. Now, for understanding that, the Supreme Court has initiated initially with one of the terms that is known as the agestum generis. Agestum generis. So, do you know what is agestum generis? कोई भी जानता है?
Of the same kind. Of the same kind.
Of the same kind. Very nice. So when we talk about the this principle of agestum generis, then it simply means that other authority would mean only and only those terms, those authorities which are of the same genus. If we are talking about the copy, pen, pencil and book, then we have to speak only of the papers. We cannot say that the food item or the clothing etc. they are the part of the same genus. तो जेनस का मतलब है कि वो उसी कैटेगरी में होना चाहिए, उसी काइंड के होने चाहिए, उसी टाइप के होने चाहिए, so that that can be defined. So other authority can be defined if we will be using agestum generis, then this would include only and only those things which are coming from the other relative terms which have been used in Article 12, that is government, that is parliament, that is state legislature, etc., etc. So other authorities could be used only in these terms. But we see that India is a country which has opted for the welfare concept of the state, and the state is the service provider in various capacities. So when there are various types of the services being provided, whether it be the railways, whether it be the postal offices, whether it be the consumer services, whether it be other types of the services, then in that maximum service providing capacity of the of various authorities, can we say that this rule of agestum generis would be a good rule for application or for interpretation of the term other authority? So initially we see that there was a case decided by the Supreme Court, that was University of Madras versus Shantabai, where the court held that agestum generis rule is applicable for interpreting this doctrine of this term authority. But later we see that various high courts started interpreting differently. Madhya Pradesh High Court said agestum generis will be applicable. Mysore High Court said it would not be applicable. So finally, Supreme Court in one more case, that is Ujjambai versus State of UP. In Ujjambai versus State of UP, held that the doctrine of agestum generis is not applicable for interpreting the term authority. Okay. So now the situation is clear that the case which was decided by the Supreme Court in Ujjambai, the view of the Supreme Court was that because we have opted for the welfare concept of the state, more and more services and welfare services are being given to the parties, to the citizens, and in that case, if agestum generis will be the rule for interpreting authority, then naturally there will be violation of the rights of the person concerned, and they will get no remedy. So this remedy would be infructuous. Those remedies will not be made available. So we have to give a very large interpretation, a wide interpretation of the term authority, and we cannot bind ourselves with the term agestum generis, which gives no further elasticity to interpret the term this authority. And that's why you see after this Ujjambai case, the Supreme Court has interpreted the term this authority in a very, very liberal way, or in a very, very elastic way. And we find that the Supreme Court has expanded the term this authority in a number of cases, so as to include not only the government authorities, but the other boards, the other we can say sections, the other corporations also, the companies also the part of the authority under Article 12 of the Constitution. So the very important case of 1967, that is Rajasthan Electricity Board versus Mohanlal. Now, in this Rajasthan Electricity Board versus Mohanlal case, what happened that a case was filed before the Supreme Court for the violation of the fundamental rights, and the authority against whom the case was brought, that was the Electricity Board. Now, Electricity Board by no means covered under the local authority or under any of the specific, term which has been used under Article 12. It could be covered only under the other authority. So for that, the state has to define. And here, what happened that under Article 298, the state is having the power for trade and commerce also. So under that power, the Electricity Board, they were doing the commercial activities. Okay. वो अपनी कॉमर्शियल एक्टिविटीज भी कर रहे थे और उसी तरीके से 298 में पावर दी गई थी, उसके अकॉर्डिंगली काम कर रहे थे, एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू सी that this term was to be defined by the Supreme Court. And how it can be defined? The Supreme Court has given a very liberal meaning that though they have the state has the power under Article 298 for trade and commerce, they can go for commercial activities, and the Electricity Board is performing their function according to the Constitution. And that's why this Electricity Board, that is for the public importance, for the public function, that is doing all those functions which the government authorities does. So here in this case also, if there is any violation, then naturally the state Electricity Board should be considered to be a state. So this was the first case where you see that the Electricity Board was held to be a state within the term authority under Article 12 of the Constitution. Then another case which was decided by the Supreme Court was that Sukhdev Singh versus Bhagat Ram. Sukhdev Singh versus Bhagat Ram. Now here you see that this was a judgment which was decided by the Supreme Court in 1975. And here three corporations like LIC, Life Insurance Corporation, ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, and Industrial Financial Corporation, IFC. These three corporations case was brought before the Supreme Court in this Sukhdev Singh case. And here Chief Justice Ray, A.N. Ray, he has said that these corporations would be covered under the term authority. And Justice Matthews also delivered a concurring judgment. So though the court said that these corporations will be covering under Article 12 as the authority, but Justice Matthews has given a very liberal approach or liberal judgment on the term authority when he said that the constitutional philosophy is what? Constitutional philosophy is welfare state. Constitutional philosophy is service providing. And in that way, if we will curtail, if we will rigidly interpret the term authority, then simply it means we are denying the fundamental rights to the citizens. And that's why these corporations which are functioning for the purposes of giving the benefits to the person concerned, if they are violative, if they are doing violation of the rights of the common man, then simply these corporations must be covered under the term authority. So these three corporations were held to be a state under Article 12 of the Constitution in this Sukhdev Singh versus Bhagat Ram case, where the judgment was unanimous almost, and the concurring judgment was having more effect because it was liberal in its approach, and this liberal approach has been highlighted by the Supreme Court in another case, that is of Som Prakash Rekhi versus Union of India. Som Prakash Rekhi versus Union of India. This was a case of 1981. And here you see that Bharat Petroleum Corporation was held to be a state under Article 12 within the meaning of term authority. Authority के अंदर उसको जो डिसाइड किया गया. Akansha Singh, don't you have any pen or paper, or everything is available with you? Because you are sitting like this. I'm not saying that you are writing in because
हाँ मैम क्योंकि मैं आपको सुन रही हूँ, मैं बाद फिर बुक पढ़ूंगी तब मुझे ज्यादा क्लैरिटी आ जाएगी, इसलिए और कोई वजह नहीं है.
लेकिन कौन सी बुक पढ़ोगी ये मुझे बताओ, क्योंकि मैंने तो एक बुक नहीं पढ़ी है, मैंने तो बहुत सारी बुक्स पढ़ी हैं. यू कैन सी
आई नो मैम, मैं अभी फिलहाल मेरे पास सिर्फ वीएन शुक्ला है, क्योंकि अभी मैं फिलहाल लखनऊ में नहीं हूँ, मैं दिल्ली आई हुई थी। आई एम समवेयर एल्स।
But I
That's
think
it.
that at least there must be certain points which you'll not find in the books directly, or you'll have to spend a lot of time to go through these books. So whatever, if I'm saying something, if you are not understanding, then you can ask me कि मैं समझ मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, आप मुझे दोबारा बताइए. Which book has written that this definition of Article 12, which is given in the Constitution, is the original contribution of the Constituent Assembly members? Because this Article 12, which I told you, that is the original contribution of the Constituent Assembly members to the Constitution, because the other things have been incorporated from there and here and borrowed from the other constitution. But this was not found anywhere, and that's why this is the original constitution contribution. So some of the points which are important for the purpose of, because you are in LLM, after that you may be in academics, you may be in other services also, you may be trying for the competitions. So everywhere, if you will not write this thing, and I don't see that the human memory is of such a nature that whatever I am talking, you can reflect the same thing otherwise. So this is only an advice, but rest is with you. Okay. Because in the classroom, this is very important. When the students are sitting in front of the teacher, then we know that how much you are getting, whether you are responding on the point or not, whether you are grasping on that point or not. So everything we can see by your expressions only, and that's why I started saying that open your video so that I can know that whether you are understanding me or not. Only 3-4 videos are there, otherwise all have put their DPs and they are sitting. I don't know whether they are sitting in the classroom or not, or the exercise is going idle. So when we talk about the Som Prakash Rekhi versus Union of India case, in that case, this was this was the Constitution Bench judgment of the Supreme Court, and you see that in this Som Prakash Rekhi case, this Bharat Petroleum Company Corporation, that was held to be the authority within the meaning of Article 12 as a state. And this was of 1981 judgment, wherein Justice Krishna Iyer, he was the judge who delivered the judgment, and it was said that these are the government functionaries which are working for the purpose of the public importance purposes, and that's why they should be interpreted in the term authority liberally. And here we see that Krishna Iyer Justice has also appreciated the judgment given by Justice Matthews in Sukhdev Singh Bhagat Ram case, and that is the point where we find that this Som Prakash Rekhi is having the impact of that judgment of Justice Matthews also. Then at the same time, there was another case decided by the Supreme Court, and that was of 1979, R.D. Shetty versus International Airport Authority. R.T. Shetty versus International Airport Authority was a case decided by the Supreme Court. It was a Constitution Bench judgment, and you see that the case has also issued certain guidelines, certain standard norms, that if these norms are there, then the authority or the state would be said to be the instrumentality or agency. Because you see, in welfare concept, every authority is working for the public purposes, every authority is having the creation from the statutory bodies also. So we see that there must be certain norms. If those norms are fulfilling, अगर वो नॉर्म्स पूरे हो रहे हैं, तो ये माना जाएगा कि ये स्टेट की इंस्ट्रूमेंटलिटी है, ये स्टेट की एजेंसी है, और अगर वो स्टेट की एजेंसी और इंस्ट्रूमेंटलिटी है, तो उनको भी स्टेट की तरीके से ही उनके अगेंस्ट में केस फाइल किया जा सकता है फॉर द वायलेशन ऑफ फंडामेंटल राइट्स. So one thing which is also important here at this moment is that whatever case law I am talking about, so this is not that you have to write in Article 12 only. there are other fundamental rights, because these are the cases which have been filed before the Supreme Court for the violation of the fundamental right. And the question is that only and only whether the authority is state or not. So fundamental rights have been violated. So these cases will be repeating again and again while discussing other fundamental rights. For example, R.D. Shetty case will be discussing when we will talk about Article 14, because this is a case where right to equality has been violated. Okay, so it is not that you have to write here only and you have not to write in Article 14. So it is your choice, and depending upon the time as to how much you can write in the examination. But you have to understand that these are the cases which are overlapping, and there are cases in which not only a single article of the Constitution is to be discussed by the court, but various articles. So one is, for example, Air India versus Nargesh Mirza. Article 14, Article 12, Article 19, Maneka Gandhi, similar articles have been discussed by the Supreme Court. So anywhere you can write accordingly. So R.D. Shetty was the case. You are all the students of LLB past and now in LLM. Anybody of you know about something about R.D. Shetty case? What was R.D. Shetty case? Because this is very important case. Anything about R.D. Shetty?
मैम इसमें 5 टेस्ट में
5 टेस्ट दिए गए हैं. ओके,
मैम कि कोई भी स्टेट कोई भी अथॉरिटी वो अब हम उसको अंडर आर्टिकल 12 उसको रख सकते हैं कि नहीं रख सकते, उसके लिए 5 जो भी अथॉरिटी है, क्या वो फाइनेंशियल उसका जो भी रिसोर्स जो फाइनेंशियल रिसोर्स है वो गवर्नमेंट फंड कर रही है, उसका कंट्रोल स्टेट के पास है कि नहीं है, जो अथॉरिटी है वो गवर्नमेंट के लिए फंक्शन कर रही है कि नहीं, जो भी अथॉरिटी है क्या वो गवर्नमेंट का डिपार्टमेंट है, या फिर वो एक और जो 5th रूल था वो ये था कि क्या वो मोनोपोली स्टेटस. ये 5 टेस्ट थे. अगर इनमें से तो अगर ये सारे के सारे टेस्ट अगर हम यही 5 टेस्ट थे, तो इनमें से इससे ही डिसाइड होगा कि अगर इनमें से कोई भी अप्लाई हो रहा है तो वो गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटी के अंदर आएगा और वो 12th में रूल करेगा, वरना वो नहीं करेगा.
Okay, well said.
These tests are not conclusive. It is illustrative.
Okay. Yes, Priya Kushwaha, you want to tell something?
Tests are not conclusive. These are illustrative.
Okay. But unless there are certain other norms fixed by the court, whether these norms could be followed or not. Because this is a constitution bench judgment. What is the judicial process? Because I have to teach that also to you. Judicial precedent क्या कहता है? केवल एक बेयर आइडिया चाहिए, क्योंकि मैं आपसे अभी ये नहीं कह रही हूँ कि आप एग्जैक्ट मुझे वही चीजें बताएं जो हैं, क्योंकि एलएलबी करके आए हैं, सो यू मस्ट हैव ए बेयर आइडिया व्हाट इज प्रेसिडेंट. If a case is decided by a constitution bench of the Supreme Court, whether it would be binding effect on the other cases or not.
Yes, ma'am.
What is Article 141 of the Constitution?
Yes, ma'am. And 141, Article 141 of the Constitution, as well as Supreme Court is considered as a court of record under Article 129. That's why it will be binding on other courts, and also for the Supreme Court to take that into consideration, or if they want, they can overheld that judgment which they had provided previously.
Okay. So this is how, if a judgment has been given, then there are certain norms prescribed, unless there are a larger bench says something different about, then this has to be followed. This is the simple rule of precedent, which is also the part of Article 141 of the Constitution, which is a part of the judicial process as such. Okay. So here in this case, R.D. Shetty case, as rightly observed by Akansha, that certain guidelines have been issued by the Supreme Court in order to understand whether the authority constitutes an instrumentality or agency of the state or not. अगर वो चीजें हैं तो ये माना जाएगा कि वो अथॉरिटी इंस्ट्रूमेंटलिटी और एजेंसी की तरह से काम कर रही है, और उस पर अगर वो किसी के राइट का वायलेशन होता है तो वन कैन डायरेक्टली रीच टू द कोर्ट फॉर द रेमेडी under Article 32 of the Constitution. So R.D. Shetty was the case where you find that it's a case relating to the hoteliers, and there were certain tenders and contract for this tender have been issued, and the qualification of the contractors have also been made out. And in that first category hotelier and second category hoteliers, these were some qualifications which were made in that particular advertisement by the इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट अथॉरिटी. और उसमें हुआ क्या कि जो व्यक्ति को फाइनली कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिया गया, जिसका जिसने टेंडर किया, वो अपने आप में क्वालिफिकेशंस ही पूरा नहीं करता था. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ वी हैव एन एडवर्टाइजमेंट इन द न्यूज़पेपर और इन द वेबसाइट्स ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटी कि LLM में एडमिशन केवल उन्हीं बच्चों को मिलेगा जिन्होंने LLB 40% मार्क्स के साथ या 45% मार्क्स के साथ कंप्लीट की है, पास की है, ओके. लेकिन फाइनली जब एडमिशन दिया तो एक 39% के बच्चे को एडमिशन दे दिया गया. So in that case, whether the authority which has put certain guidelines or certain qualifications for entering into, for filing into, for applying into, if that basic qualifications are not fulfilled, then how this contract can be given to the person, how the admission can be given, कैसे admission दिया जा सकता है, 39% वाले को admission कैसे दिया जा सकता है. And similar was the case in R.D. Shetty कि फर्स्ट क्लास होटलियर को ही एलिजिबल बताया गया, और जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिला तो किसी सेकंड क्लास होटलियर को मिल गया जो एलिजिबल ही नहीं था अप्लाई करने के लिए. So in that case, R.D. Shetty case was that the person who was also having that category of second class hotelier, he said that I have not applied because you have put certain guidelines that I am not eligible according to that guidelines, and you have given the tender to or contract to a person who was not eligible. So if it would be like there, I would have also been applied for. मैंने भी अपना apply किया होता, मुझे भी मिल सकता था. And that's why you have violated my Article 14, that is right to equality. And here the court has issued the guidelines, and the court held that International Airport Authority is a state within the meaning of Article 12 as an authority. Now, similar judgment was also given because the same issues were also before the court of law at the same time. The judgment has come afterwards. R.D. Shetty came in 1979, and Ajay Hasia versus Khalid Mujib, that case came before that case was decided by the Supreme Court in 1981. And in that case also, you see, Justice P.N. Bhagwati was there, and he issued the guidelines which were also similar to those of the R.D. Shetty case. तो R.D. Shetty के केस में और अजय हासिया के केस में जो गाइडलाइंस दी गई ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर गाइडलाइंस थी, उन्हीं को एक्सेप्ट किया गया. And as very well told by you, Akansha, that 5 guidelines basically have been given by the Supreme Court in this Ajay Hasia case also, which were made applicable in the other cases. So, for example, the first guideline which was given in that case was that the entire share capital is to be held by the government. जो कंपनी है, अथॉरिटी है, बॉडी है, जो भी है, उसका जो शेयर कैपिटल है वो गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा हेल्ड किया गया हो. So the first thing is that the entire share capital is to be held by the government. Then regarding financial assistance, the financial assistance that is to be given by the government is it must be such a large financial assistance so that almost entire expenditure of that body should be meted out by that financial assistance. पहला तो ये कि शेयर कैपिटल जो है वो पूरे का पूरा एंटायर शेयर कैपिटल गवर्नमेंट के पास हो. दूसरा ये कि गवर्नमेंट ही उस बॉडी को फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस दे रही हो, उनको पैसे की जो भी असिस्टेंस है वो गवर्नमेंट से आ रही हो, और वो इतनी बड़ी असिस्टेंस दी जा रही हो फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस की जितना भी खर्चा है उस कंपनी का, उस अथॉरिटी का, उस बॉडी का, वो उसी फाइनेंशियल असिस्टेंस से मीट आउट हो रहा हो. So the second point is that it is regarding the financial assistance must be such a large assistance that the entire expenditure of that body must be meted out by that financial assistance which is being given by the government concern. Then the body must enjoy the monopoly conferred by the government or protected by the government कि जो body है वो इस तरीके की एक मोनोपोली उसकी हो कि वो अपने आप में अकेला बिजनेस कर रही है उस पर्टिकुलर चीज को लेके या अपने आप में अलग से एक एजेंसी है जिसको गवर्नमेंट ने या तो राइट्स कन्फर किए हैं या उसके जो भी राइट्स हैं उसको गवर्नमेंट प्रोटेक्ट कर रही है. So this is also one of the standard which has been given by the Supreme Court in Ajay Hasia. Entire share capital, financial assistance number 2, then the monopoly which has been conferred by the government or and protected by the government. Then another point was the existence, there must be some existence of deep and pervasive control. Deep and pervasive control of whom? Deep and pervasive control of the government over the corporation, over the authority, over the agency. तो एक कंट्रोल होना चाहिए जो दिखे अपरेंटली कि हाँ that the authority is working within the control of the government authority. Then the functions which are being performed by these public corporations or these bodies, they must be of public importance. ये जो function होंगे वो public importance के होने चाहिए and they are closely related to the functions of the government. कि जैसा government function करती है उसी से related functions अगर होंगे तो ये माना जाएगा कि ये authority अपने आप में agency या instrumentality है. For example, अगर हम education की बात करते हैं, education is the function of the state, education is the function of the government, but the private institutions are also imparting education. तो जो प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं जो पैसा लेके डिग्री दे रही हैं पढ़ाई करवा रही हैं क्या हम उनको मानेंगे कि वो स्टेट की इसमें अथॉरिटी में आते हैं या नहीं आते हैं. प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज जो बहुत सा पैसा लेके कोर्सेज करते हैं एजुकेशन इम्पार्ट कर रहे हैं क्या हम उसको मानेंगे कि वो इन नॉर्म्स में कहीं बैठते हैं वो क्या आएंगे या नहीं आएंगे. बिकॉज वन थिंग दैट दे आर परफॉर्मिंग पब्लिक इम्पोर्टेंस फंक्शन विच आर क्लोजली रिलेटेड टू द गवर्नमेंट फंक्शंस. तो गवर्नमेंट पढ़ाई करवाए या फिर प्राइवेट फंक्शनरीज पढ़ाई करवाए. बट फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट द अथॉरिटी which can be said to be an instrumentality or agency of the state, the thing which is important is that the entire share capital is to be held by the government. Financial assistance must be large so that entire expenditure must be meted out. At the same time, there must be deep and pervasive control of the government. And finally, the function must be of public importance function. So these are the points which are to be there in order to make an instrumentality or agency as the authority within the meaning of Article 12 of the Constitution. So this was the judgment of Ajay Hasia written by Justice P.N. Bhagwati and which was followed for up to 2002. When we see that two cases were decided on the same day by the Supreme Court, Som Prakash Rekhi and Sabhajit Tiwari. Both were decided in 1981 and the judgment in both the cases was different. In one case, you see that the corporation have been given the authority of the state, and in Sabhajit Tiwari, the case related to the CSIR. This is the Central Research Institute. And that was not considered to be the state within the meaning of Article 12, Sabhajit Tiwari case of 1981. And this case was overruled by the Supreme Court in 2002 in Pradeep Kumar Bishwas case, where the court held that CSIR is the instrumentality of the state within the meaning of Article 12 of the Constitution. Now, as it is said by Akansha that, or as it is said by Priya also, that these are not the conclusive guidelines. Okay, it is not the conclusive guidelines because the court in 2002 in this Pradeep Kumar Biswas case said that the guidelines which have been given by the Supreme Court in Ajay Hasia case, they are not the rigid set of principles. When they say that this is not the rigid set of principles, it simply means that they are only persuasive principles. We can follow those principles, but these are not the binding principles. If there is a larger bench, these principles can be changed also. These principles can be overruled also. So this Pradeep Kumar Vishwas was a constitution bench judgment, and you see that it has not overruled the case which was given in Ajay Hasia, but it overruled the case in Sabhajit Tiwari, which said that CSIR is not a state, and in this case, the court held that CSIR is the state. Now, similarly, the court has also given two guidelines in this Pradeep Kumar Vishwas case that which have to be followed for the purpose of knowing whether the state is the authority is a state or not. So one thing it has to see the control aspect कि जो अथॉरिटी है जो एजेंसी है उस पर कंट्रोल किस तरीके से हो रहा है, कंट्रोलिंग क्या है. So for that it has applied and approved Ajay Hasia and R.D. Shetty regarding the financial control, regarding the functional control, regarding the administrative control. जो कुछ भी अजय हासिया और आर डी शेट्टी में कहा गया था, प्रदीप विश्वास में भी कहा. कंट्रोल एस्पेक्ट देखना पहली बात. सेकेंड इज रिलेटिंग टू दी फंक्शनल एस्पेक्ट कि इसका फंक्शन जो है वो गवर्नमेंट के फंक्शन के तरीके से है या नहीं है. So the 5 guidelines have been reduced in 2 guidelines now in Sabha in this Pradeep Kumar Vishwas, and now we see that there are 2 guidelines. One is relating to the control aspect, control in matters of finance, control in matters of function, control in matter of administration. And second is the functional aspect, which says that the function must be similar to that of the government authorities, government functionaries. So we see that after Pradeep Kumar Vishwas, these 2 norms have been available for making or for interpreting the authority. If these 2 points are there, then any instrumentality, any agency, any authority would be state under Article 12 of the Constitution. Because the court in this Pradeep Vishwas case also said that merely an authority is the creation of a statute, then it is not enough to say that this is the authority under Article 12 of the Constitution. So we see that Pradeep Kumar Vishwas now is a case which is in a guideline for all the cases for understanding whether their authority is the state under Article 12 or not.